Tapere. Kia ora ana, and welcome back to another amazing interview as part of the Real Talk series for Rise2025. My name is Rachel Petero, and I am the founder of Rise2025, coaching and leadership for Indigenous leaders all over the world, and I get to do it every day. So, you know, lucky me. And I'm here joined this morning by Tapere Hewett, who is in the beautiful Te Atatu Peninsula here in Auckland. Kia ora ana.
Kia ora ana. Kia ora ana, everyone. Whakalofalahi atu and kia ora.
Yes, and so Tapere has agreed to be part of this series because she has an amazing, well, the way that she describes it is an amazing job that she gets to do what she loves every day, and it is really around financial well-being. So Tapere, maybe just share a bit about, you know, what you do and how much you love it before we get into some real deep questions.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Rachel.
Yes.
So I'm a mortgage advisor. I am new to this role, and it has always been a passion of mine, really, to help people, especially our people, get into homes and show them a more, I guess, simplistic way of getting into this property that they, you know, probably some people think that it's extremely difficult. And so I'm here to sort of break down those barriers and, you know, and help our people see the light.
Yes.
That actually, you know, with a bit of a plan, hard work, commitment, and, you know, somebody by your side, you can actually get there. So
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is, you know, it's right on kaupapa, it's right on point in terms of what this series Real Talk is about. It's about Indigenous women, wealth and well-being, and how that can come together. Yeah. And so, you know, I'm from the mighty Waikato. Both my parents ko Waikato te iwi, ko Waikato te awa, ko taupiri te maunga, ko tainui te waka. And so, what about you? Where is your whakapapa?
Yeah, so I hail from the beautiful islands of the Cook Islands, and you know, my parents are Aitakians, and my mum's from Raro as well. And yeah, I was actually born in Auckland and brought up in the sunny Hawke's Bay. Yeah, where, you know, I've grown up around a lot of Cook Islanders. We had a Cook Island community in Blacksmere, and so my parents had moved from Auckland. My father was transferred from Auckland to Hawke's Bay to work. He transferred in the Fire Brigade. So then, yeah, we basically sort of integrated into this community, and you know, and I'm still pretty close with the community as well. So I went to Hastings Girls High, and yeah, my brothers, I've got 3 brothers and 1 sister, and yeah, we led a beautiful life down there. And actually my father, who was extremely vigilant when it came to, you know, saving money, houses, like we had the conversation around homes and making sure that you're independent and that sort of thing, very early on. So as a child, I was around it, very much so. And we, you know, we housed a lot of family. You know, families migrated from, you know, from the islands, and it was almost like a halfway house is what they'd call it now, but to us it was just normal. So, but at that time, if I, you know, reflecting back, I just, when Dad was having those conversations in housing, you know, a lot of the families, I didn't realise that, you know, money back then was a struggle. And you know, just trying to put food on the table and that sort of thing. I didn't notice as a child. There was lots of food in my eyes, and we never went without. And yeah, but, you know, so my dad was a fireman. My mum at the time worked in an orchard. And, you know, I went when I was a child with her and sat in the orchard, and, you know, while she was picking apples and that sort of thing. You know, I was brought up Cook Island dancing, and yeah, in the church. Yeah, so we, you know, I had a pretty good life. But looking back now, I realised some of the things that Mum and Dad went through, in terms of money. We didn't have much of it, which is fine, because to me there was nothing wrong with it. But as a mother now, and providing for my own children, and and a wife, I see that I don't know that whether it was a facade, but things were really really hard back then.
Yes. Yeah. So your dad had quite a pivotal, I suppose, was a pivotal role model in your life around financial well-being. So what are the key? So and I'm also hearing you talked about money, which I think is really important. I really believe in that. And you and I have had the conversation about, we were always talking about money as growing up.
Yeah.
And what that meant to us. So what were the key lessons that you learned from your father that now really resonate in your life today?
Yeah, the key lessons is, to really set yourself up for the future, planning ahead, and putting aside for a rainy day. And yeah, he was really staunch on, making sure you've got, a home for your family, not being dictated by, a landlord, having to move in and out, whenever, and rent rises and all that sort of thing. But yeah, my father just made sure that I was, there to provide for myself and my family, and being independent, not depending on anyone whatsoever, just going ahead and saving money. But he was really open about money. He was, one of the very few, and I think as Pacifica, we're very uncomfortable we feel uncomfortable when that subject comes up. It is almost like feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm committing some form of crime, or money is the root of all evil, as they say. But it isn't, it is really just to understand where you're at in life, and whether you're in a good space and whether you're not in a good space. And actually, if you're not in a good space, why is that? Acknowledging, okay, I could do things a lot better, and actually having a look, having a look at, what's going on and the reasons why things are, happening, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, great lessons, and open to talking about the value of money. So, we've talked about it being a resource. It's another resource, and how you use that resource is completely up to you. Some, as you have mentioned, might use it for things that we wouldn't use it for. But I think in an Indigenous community sense, especially now Māori and Pacific, I know that money, that resource, if we talk about it, that resource goes back into our families typically.
It really does, yeah. And and that is okay. That is definitely okay. But when you don't have anything for yourself, and this is extremely common in our families, you're just giving, you're getting yourself in debt, you're having to take out loans, and dare I say it, give it to the church, and when you just can't afford it. So just really thinking about those situations, and I think sitting down and planning ahead. Yes. You can contribute to, some people put 10%, aside for the church. That's absolutely fine. As long as you're, sitting down, you've got some form of a budget. And I think it's really important to educate your family as to, and especially the children, as to where mum and dad are at in life and your finances, and what they are trying to achieve as a family.
Yes.
And asking the children, how do you think you can help? How do you think you can help us reach this particular goal? Whether it's buying a house or that sort of thing, because nowadays there's a lot of marketing and social media. So our children are really enticed by mobile phones and little gadget games and that sort of thing, and the latest shoes, and it's so easy to buy now and pay later, put things on credit, and I think we are extremely wasteful. Like, we have so many things in our wardrobe, as wahine, and yet we want another top that kind of looks similar, you know, and another pair of shoes that looks the same. And
guilty.
I am completely guilty. I am completely guilty. But, you know, I do rein myself in, you know, time and again and think, okay, do you really need that? And I have watched actually a couple of Netflix.
On Marie Kondo?
Yes, tidying up.
Big fan.
Yeah. But also Minimalist is on Netflix as well. And yeah, and that's just about culling and, you know, culling the stuff that we absolutely don't need.
Yes. Yet other people might.
Yeah, exactly. Other people might. And so I think, you know, if you are in a really good financial space, good on you. That is awesome. But if you, you know, if you are just, again, dare I say it, trying to keep up with the Joneses and that sort of thing, well, you know, you really need to sit down and have a conversation with, you know, with yourself, with, you know, with your family, and understand is that the direction you're wanting to take in the future, because it's just going to be continuous, and then, you know, your children will, you know, adopt those behaviors, and then, you know, just be a knock-on effect.
Yes. So let's get into that, because now we've sort of moved from, you know, where you've come from, some of the key lessons that you've learnt, and also sharing with your children. I love that question. So how can you help us as parents reach these goals? Top tip.
So just you know, moving along, when I met my husband, we very quickly, you know, connected, and we decided we wanted to buy a house together. And so for us, that meant we had to move in with his parents, you know, and we're very fortunate, moved in with his parents. But I wouldn't do that, you know. He said, well, let's move in with mum and dad. And, you know, he knew I wanted to buy a house. And I said to him, well, if we do that, you know, I want to have some sort of, you know, purpose with being there, other than, you know, being with mum and dad. But we needed to start our own lives, and I didn't want to be there for the rest of my life. And so he's like, well, what does that mean, you know? And I said, well, what it means is that we need to, you know, we both want a house. We both talked about it, and we're both motivated to do it. So we need to put a plan together. And it actually meant that we were living off one income. So I was saving my income. All his income was going on, you know, we had a car at the time that was on hire purchase. And, you know, so I'm talking about 22 years old, you know. So we had a car on hire purchase, you know, we had some other credit card stuff, and, you know, and we just wanted to just get rid of all of that stuff. And we knew we weren't going to be able to afford a deposit or save for a deposit on a house if we had all this, you know, this frivolous debt. And yeah, so we just knuckled down, and it really meant that we actually couldn't go out couldn't go out night clubbing at the time, drinking with our friends, because, you know, all that stuff costs a lot of money. So we committed to this plan, and to be honest, I was fine, because I wasn't really, you know, a social butterfly anyway, but my husband was. So it was a real change for him. You know, when you've got friends ringing up, and, you know, he, you know, saying he can't go out when he used to do that before and drop $200 a night or whatever, it was just nothing. And then all of a sudden he's, you know, been reined in, and, you know, well, you've only got $50, darling, to, you know, and it was, you know, it was like, I can't shout the boys with that, you know. So these conversations are actually normal among our Pacifica and Māori families, because there is a bit of, you know, shame, and I can't, you know, instead of admitting it, you know, I can't do it because I'm actually doing this thing, you know. And when you're that young, that is a bit of an issue for your mates, because, you know, now you're not socializing in the circles anymore, and, you know, you're kind of regarded as an outcast. And so yeah, so that was very difficult for Shane. And yeah, so we committed to this, and it meant that, honestly, because we had daycare at the time as well, daycare expenses, and, you know, year board and all of that sort of thing, and we hardly had anything for ourselves. So we had, you know, $20 probably to spend in the weekend. And what we would do is take our daughter, who was, what was she, 1 at the time, we would take her to the park, have some fish and chips, sit down, and, you know, and we had a great old time. And that was us for the next 8 months. And we just really just committed to this. You know, you're always going to get tempted. Like, some things came up and, you know, we felt so guilty. Oh, we should be doing this, or we should be giving money to the family. We should be, you know, and, you know, sometimes I had to go back to my father and say, you know, Dad, this is really hard. You know, we're trying to achieve this, but we've got this. And he's like, you know, he goes, there's always going to be temptations, you know, stick it out. You'll be thankful later on. And yeah, and then, you know, how many years later, Shane and I are property investors.
Yes.
Yeah, we have properties in Hawke's Bay, in Auckland, and also on the beautiful island of Aitutaki. And yeah, we are financially, we're sound now. You know, there's still a fair way to go, but we are in a good space, and that is purely because of just being disciplined and committing to, you know, our plan at the time. And yeah, but enjoying the process along the way. I mean, initially it is really difficult. It is hard, you know, because you're having to learn to change your behaviors, and you know, you constantly feel like you're missing out on stuff. And, you know, I remember being called, oh God, you guys are so tight, and no, you know, and that was really difficult for us to take at the time, you know, but, you know, I guess.
But here you are today.
Here I am today. Here we are today. Yeah,
here you are as a family, together as a family unit, investing, doing jobs that, you know, you really enjoy doing, that is actually giving back to your community, to your family. And that takes discipline. That's the key message. It takes discipline, and it takes stepping out of what is known as normal. To be at everything, to give of yourself and your finances to many different occasions. And it's very behavioral, and that's one of the key messages that I got from Tapere when we reconnected just recently. And that's why I said, oh, you've got to come on our series, because what you're saying, our whānau, our wahine, all around the world need to hear those real stories. And you're an example of what that looks like. And you're relatable, you're one of us. And so, you know, when we hear that from someone who looks like us, you know, is from our culture, you know, it's about that connection. So thank you for being so open and for sharing.
You're welcome.
So you're here, and you're in this new role, and so what is it that our whānau can come to you for?
Sure. So if you are thinking about, you know, potentially wanting to get on the property ladder, albeit your first home, or, you know, maybe for investment purposes, then come and have a conversation with me. Even if it is to, you know, you don't have a plan at the moment, by all means, come and have a conversation with me. That is why I'm here. You know, a lot of brokers are just extremely specific to, you know, just if you've got the money, then, you know, then we can help you. But for me, it's end to end, and I've been through it all. I've been through the budget side of things, you know, committing to the deposit, like I said before, you know, buying or sorting out the finances with the mortgage broker, and to buying you know, putting in an offer on a house and that sort of thing. So actually a story that I'd like to share is when we were down the line with some family, and, you know, we had just taken the children to the beach, and we you know, we had come back, and then one of the cousins had asked me, you know, how did you guys get where you guys are today? How did you get into your house? And so, you know, similar story to what I've told here. And at the end of it, I said, you know, I've always been really open with people about coming to me if they need any, you know, if I can offer some form of advice to them, like come to me, I'm more than happy to sit down and help. And so my two cousins approached me, and we sat down and had a conversation around where they were at with, you know, with their finances, what it was they were wanting to achieve. They wanted, you know, to own their own home. And, you know, so I helped them put a plan together, and I actually was part of that whole monitoring process, because, you know, she said, "Cuz, look, you need to, we're probably not going to be disciplined, so we think we'll be disciplined if we know you're watching," you know. And so I was monitoring that whole process. You know, I actually think it was 2 years, or but anyway, they then ended up having the deposit. They bought into part of this shared equity scheme, where they own 73% of the property and Housing Foundation own the other part. And so they bought this property. I helped them negotiate the interest rates with ASB Bank. I wasn't even a mortgage broker at the time. Helped them get more cash back. And then right through to, I think it's been 4 years now, 4 years later, I, you know, because I've recently become a mortgage advisor, so I gave her a call and said, "Hey, how's it going?" And now we're at that stage where she can, you know, afford to buy the 100% of the house out. And,
right.
You know, that is,
right.
that is massive.
Yeah, it's massive. And, you know, so if you use that example, was your cousin in a good financial place at the beginning?
She wasn't bad. Like, there was a few things that needed to be cleared, and that's what we worked on for the first few months.
Yes.
So she wasn't in a, she wasn't too bad. I mean, you know, after being in this role for as long as I've been in it, I've seen a lot. So now the comparison is actually, you know, they were in a pretty good space.
Yes. I just want to ask you, did you want to shift position? It looks like
I do.
The sun coming straight in your eyes.
Okay, here we go.
There you go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Cool. And so this is real talk. It's real. It's live. We're not trying to curate everything. So, you know, all good. So one of the things that we know, you and I, we've spoken about it, is there can be some, you know, there can be some, almost some shame around coming to someone like you, around where you are at that stage in terms of debt.
Yeah.
What's your advice?
My advice is, you know, you have to start from somewhere, and it's okay. It is just acknowledging, okay, you know, it is what it is. And this is why I say to people, just everything out on the table. There's no point in hiding anything. I really don't. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past. You know, it's what we do here and now and moving forward in the future. I think that is extremely important for our people to know. There is no shame in that. You know, it's just making sure that we don't continue with those behaviours, you know, again. And, you know, I really just want people to know that, you know, if it is a home that they are wanting, you can absolutely achieve it with the right, you know, discipline and, you know, putting a plan together, just like anything, like a diet, you know, putting that plan together and, you know, being monitored and that sort of thing.
Yeah, wonderful. And so they would come to you, you would sit with them and go through where they are at the current time, and then what happens once you've sort of got that plan?
So if I can just reflect back on, you know, my cousin, and actually, you know, a couple of people, just, you know, depending, everybody's situation is different. So they're all at different stages. And, you know, I had one couple, for example, about 3 weeks ago, who didn't even know that they could buy a house. You know, they've just received their approval, and, you know, she was just completely in tears. So depending on where you are at, you know, we just sit down and have a discussion about, you know, what it is you're wanting to achieve, you know, with property. Yeah, and just for clarity, you know, a registered financial advisor is a person who specialises in you know, category 2 products, which is mortgages. And so, you know, if you're really wanting, I guess, real technical, you know, advice around, you know, budgeting and money and that sort of thing, then you would need to see a real, you know, an expert in that field. So I'm speaking from experience and what I have done. And yeah, and I can help guide you, into a particular space if that is what you're wanting.
Yes, great. And that's good clarity, about all the specific thing that you do provide, and also what you don't provide. I think that's really important. And so, you know, we've got young people, we've got people who are in houses, and so you also do investment. So what does that look like?
Yep, so I just invest in property, obviously because that's my passion. So for me, my husband and I have just, you know, we had a vision way back when, where we wanted to be in the future, or when we retired, and that was to be financially free. What does that mean for us? That means, you know, creating some form of passive income, no reliance on the government. You know, we don't know whether the pension is going to be around, you know, in how many years' time, and actually it's not enough.
No.
And so, and we wanted to be able to provide, you know, financially for our grandchildren, for our mokos, for you know, our children and that sort of thing. And and so we decided to invest in property because, you know, as history tells us, every 7 to 10 years, you know, the property doubles.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's slowed down over the last few years, but it really does. And so that saying, safe as houses, you know, I've always sort of taken that on board. And because I know it so well and I am passionate about it, I'm comfortable in that space.
Yes.
I've been asked to, you know, oh, why don't you invest in shares? And, you know, there's something to be said about being diverse in terms of your investments and that sort of thing. But diversity for me is, you know, we don't invest in one particular place, right? We are investing in Hawke's Bay. We are in Auckland as well. And so if the property market, you know, doesn't go so well here, you know, it might go well there. But, you know, one of our strategies that, actually one of the things I wanted to share is, you know, we were buying property in Auckland and, you know, we were constantly having to top up because of the property prices, right? Constantly having to top up. And I was thinking, well, how can we figure out a way that the properties actually just pay for themselves? And so we went down to Hawke's Bay, bought a number of properties, and you know, in my mind, this is quite a while ago. I thought, well, if we made an extra $100 each property over the 5 properties, that's $500 towards the mortgage for the, you know, something as simple as that. And so when we talk about not throwing, you know, chucking our eggs in one basket, well, that is my sort of diverse thinking around property.
Yes.
That investment.
Yes, love that. And so if someone is already, you know, doing quite well with property, a bit more equity in their own property or property, then you would also be someone that you could advise them around how they might grow that.
Yeah, absolutely. We would just look at, you know, what their existing portfolio and create better strategies around, you know, if they're wanting to purchase more, or maybe the way their finances are structured, you know, their mortgages are structured, maybe that needs to be tidied up a little bit. So we offer advice around that. Maybe the interest rates are too high, maybe we can find another bank that will, you know, give them a better deal. So that's for investors, and you know, for first home buyers, which is actually, you know, it's definitely pulled on the heartstrings. You know, people are buying properties now with 10% deposit. Even in some cases, they have to be special cases, you know, 5% deposit. And but at the end of the day, you know, there are things around, you know, interest rates are slightly high, not as competitive as if you had a 20% deposit. But at the end of the day, you are getting into a property, and the house prices will, you know, it'll increase over time.
Yep.
And yeah, I just think there's no time like the present if you're wanting to, you know, have that discussion around buying property and saving for it. Actually, one thing is I'd like everybody to know is that when we purchased our first house, we had 5% deposit, you know, and at that time we had to pay a low equity premium fee, which is a fee that that the banks charge, you know, because your deposit is extremely low, and you know, they charge a slightly higher interest rate as well. And so my thinking around that is, you know, because people were saying, well, you should save 20%, you should have 20%. And my thoughts around it was, well, why would you keep saving when house prices are going up faster than you can even save?
Yeah.
You know, so at that time, our, you know, the house prices when we bought was, I think it was like 240,000 back then, and you know, and the low equity fee was 3,700, which was a lot of money. That to us, that was like having $10,000 these days, you know. And we were on a joint income of, you know, $60,000 joint, you know, so not much money at all. But we hung in there for the next, you know, for 3 years until, you know, we got better jobs and that sort of thing, and we just started, you know, paying off our mortgage really quickly. And that's positioned us really well to purchase more property.
Yeah, I love it. And you know, I think the new home buyers, you know, first home buyers, I talked to you about my niece, you know, she was like, oh no, I can't save, it's going to take me ages to save all that money. That could be the same conversation.
Yes.
So yes, and so as we sort of move into, is there anything that you really want to leave behind in terms of the must-dos for preparing for, you know, getting into your first home?
Yeah, the must-dos is just really being prepared to stick to a budget, or have a budget, you know, have a savings plan, decide when you think it is, or your time frame to get into a property. Have a time frame, you know, and sort of decide exactly how much you're kind of wanting to spend around about, and then just have that goal. Okay, this is how much we have to get for, you know, for a $700,000 house. You know, this is how much we have to save. This is how long it's going to take. Just being really clear about your goals, and mindset is, you know, has a lot to do with it. Like being disciplined, you know, mentally, and making sure that, you know, you're both. It's always good doing it with a partner, you know, with somebody else, because you're keeping each other in check. You both have, you know, different strengths, and you know, usually there's probably one partner who's really disciplined and good, you know, whether it's money or whatever it is, and the other partner's not so good. So it's knowing those strengths and leveraging off each other. But yeah, so just being disciplined. But when, you know, when it is time to have a conversation about, you know, looking at you know, finances for a mortgage, then please, like, give me a call beforehand, actually, you know, that's absolutely fine. And you know, if I see you in another year, I know that if I put some real effort and genuine effort into you know, helping people from the beginning, they will come back to me, you know. I know they will. And I'm just really passionate about seeing our people get into property, and it is definitely achievable if you really believe that it is, you know.
Yes. And also asking for help with someone like Tapere, because, you know, not everyone is helpful, actually.
Yes.
Is what I've noticed. You might go to someone, but actually, you know, there's something that doesn't fit right with you and that person. And so, you know, having a beautiful Cook Island woman who's savvy about money, who is qualified in this area, who actually has real life experience, I think is like gold. That's why we wanted to bring Tapere here. And I just want to thank you for your amazing story and being really so open, because the reason we started this is because every time I went to talk about money with a lot of our Indigenous wahine and tane and whānau, no one really wanted to talk about it. And so, you know, it's about the more we talk about it, the more it becomes normal to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And so Tapere's going to very kindly show us her view in her beautiful home, which is in Te Atu Peninsula.
I'm just looking over to make sure I haven't put anything away.
Look at this beautiful home, and then out onto the, oh, look at that kitchen.
We wash the dishes, yeah.
Out onto her deck.
So this is, I don't know if you can see the harbour bridge from here. So
We
we're
see
water.
and we see beautiful green and a lovely outdoor decking area. Oh, look at that. Oh, a spa. Oh, she's got the pool and the spa.
And the
Beautiful.
pool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So next time I come and see you, I'm coming to your house.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
Yes. Yes. Hey, now also I just want to say congratulations. Congratulations on all the work that you and your whānau have done to set yourselves up, and now being able to share it back in this way and many other ways that you do. I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me, Rachel. I mean, you are my inspiration, and so when you did reach out, I was like, oh, you know, I wasn't like thinking, why does she want to talk to me? So, you know, you inspire many people around the world, and you know, I've always been in awe of, you know, especially when you have those conversations, the dinners at in Mount Eden and that sort of thing. Those are my favourite things. Just introducing different people, you know, them sharing their journeys and that sort of thing. And I've always loved that and look forward to it. So
yeah, and we're going to do more of that. Maybe we have something at your house.
Maybe. Never know. Yeah, maybe.
Like a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay, then. Well, we'll see you soon. I'm going to sign off and say thank you to everyone for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you again, Tapere.
Thank you. Ka kite, everyone.
Hang on, I'm just going to